So, have you ever thought about what it takes to write a prayer that's meant to change the entire world? Well, today we're going to do just that. We're breaking down this really powerful and, honestly, super ambitious prayer from 1956. We'll look at its themes, its structure, and the worldview behind it to really get what makes it tick.
Okay, so the prayer kicks off with this line. And right off the bat, you can tell this isn't going to be your standard, quiet little prayer. Nope. This is coming from a place of struggle, you know? It's basically saying, hey, we know this is going to be tough.
So, where did this come from? Well, it was a prayer given by Reverend son Myung way back on May 23, 1956, and that date is actually super important. I mean, think about the mid-50s, you've got the world still dealing with the aftermath of World War II, the Cold War is ramping up, and it's out of that whole environment that this prayer, with its very unique perspective, comes into being.
All right, so to deal with that rugged path we just talked about, the prayer really centers itself on one big thing, a plea for strength. It's not subtle about it either. It's a direct ask for the power needed to get through whatever's coming.
And what's cool is how specific this plea is. It's not just, a general please help us. Not at all. It's asking for very specific things. The strength to last till the end, the courage to get heaven's will done, the power to become heroes of heaven, and the guidance to stay on the right track. Each one is like a different tool they need for the job.
And this line right here really gets to the heart of it, emotionally. Because at the same time they're asking for this heroic, world-changing strength, there's also this profound humility. They call themselves foolish children, which really emphasizes how much they feel they depend on God. It's this wild combination, isn't it? Huge ambition on one side and total humility on the other. So you gotta ask, why do they need this much strength? Well, the prayer is very clear that it's not for them personally. It's all because the mission they've set for themselves as well, it's massive. We're talking global scale.
4 billion. Let that sink in. In the 1950s, that's pretty much everyone on Earth. This number isn't just a number. It's there to show you the mind-boggling scope of what they believe they have to do.
And here it is, the mission laid out plain and simple, to find and awaken those 4 billion people who are described as sleeping. So the goal was to bring every single person on the planet into a new kind of spiritual consciousness. It's framed as a total global spiritual resurrection.
It even gives a kind of step-by-step plan for this work of resurrection. Step 1, wake everyone up. Step 2, get those flames of life going. Step 3, go out there confidently with the message, the word. And finally, Step 4, show God's glory on earth. It's a pretty clear roadmap for how they see this transformation happening.
But of course, a mission this huge is going to have its dangers, right? And the prayer is really honest about that. It talks directly about the risks and the stakes, what happens if they don't succeed. This is no walk in the park.
And just look at how black and white the choices are. You either become heroes of heaven or you become objects of Satan's derision. You're either beloved children or you're foolish people. You either complete the mission or you drop it. There's absolutely no middle ground here. The stakes are, well, cosmic.
What's really interesting, though, is that one of the biggest threats they point to is internal. It's the danger of being selfish, of making decisions based on what's good for you instead of what's good for heaven. So they're literally praying for protection from themselves, from their own egos, just as much as any outside force.
Which brings us to the big why. After all this talk about the plea for strength, the giant mission, the dangers, what's the point? What is the ultimate goal of all this effort and struggle?
Well, the end goals are completely spiritual. It's all about easing the lamentations of Christ, showing God's glory, and dealing with this thing called unresolved grief. The prize at the end isn't some earthly treasure, it's about bringing back a sense of divine joy and grace for the whole world.
Let's zoom in on that phrase for a second. Unresolved grief. So what are they talking about? It seems to point to this deep, historical sorrow, like a cosmic sadness left over from all the failures of the past. And so the mission becomes this generation's job to finally heal that ancient wound on behalf of everyone.
So when you boil it all down, what you have is this incredible mix of two really powerful ideas. You've got this enormous, almost unbelievable sense of responsibility for the whole planet. And at the exact same time, you have this deep personal humility in the face of God.
And that really leaves us with a big question to chew on. When you look at a text like this, it makes you think, how does a worldview like this one define the relationship between a person's faith, their feeling of duty, and this idea of having a responsibility for the entire world?